Hello and welcome back to another new edition of Windows on Current Affairs, and today we talk, or we shed the light on the national mega projects that were effected lately during 2016 and earlier by the head of state Abdul al-Sisi on many several fronts. From them we remember the agricultural front, the housing front, petrochemical, electric stations in Asyut, and petrochemical in Damietta, and energy in Dab'a, and housing in South Sinai, housing in Badr City, and some governorates in Egypt, and also the 1.5 million fadan in the field of agriculture. And we are going to also talk about the different challenges that are coming in the way of the development, the course of development, and how important or how vital could be the role of some institutions in the government to be able to face or to stand up to those challenges. And we're very delighted to have with us Dr. Mahmoud Azmy. He is Vice President, Egyptian American Council, and we have with us also Mr. Ahmed Abdul, investment expert. Good evening, gentlemen. And let me first start off by you, Dr. Abdul. We all know that President Sisi have inaugurated several projects. Every day we would wake up to a mega national project. Among them is the Asyut electricity project, and the Dab'a, and the housing projects. Which one would you like to start off with? Could be the most important. Let us start off with the 1.5 million fadan.
This is a very important project because it has two facets. The first one is availing agricultural products for the local market, for the local consumption, and this is very important for food security. This is the important facet, which is food security, and this is a very important thing for our general economy and also for the security of the nation. And another facet is the general economic development from the agribusiness that is behind the agriculture itself. Agriculture is the first phase in the economic development of the agribusiness. We have a lot of industrial facilities that can work on the new agricultural land. So it's not only agricultural products for the market, but it's also agri-business, like the production of sugar, production of other varieties that are for the local market. Or
they said there are strategic crops and there are other kinds of crops. I mean, there are categories for crops.
The categories are very important for just the classification. Some products are strategic for the security. And the other products are for the export market to generate foreign currency. This is very important to diversify the sources of income from the agribusiness itself.
To you, Dr. Azmy, still with the 1.5 million fadan in Farafra that covers 280,000 fadans cultivated in field crops. How is the irrigation ministry, in your own perception, going to cover up or to to meet all the needs of that project, and at the same time having concern all the mistakes of the past, and would be able to learn from it?
Can I point something else first? President Sisi is victim to a lot of nonsense going on from outside the world and inside. Whatever President Sisi is doing now, people will never realize how great it is till 5-6 years, because his projects, it is by the time it develops and bring back something for Egypt, it takes at least 5-6 years. This can tell us one thing: President Sisi is not looking for the chair. Otherwise, you could have done something to show up like Coca-Cola today. I'm done. He's doing something for Egypt. Whatever you spoke about, all the projects you spoke about are really mega projects. And as you have mentioned, we are not going to see it now, not even tomorrow, not even in a year. However, he is going ahead of time. He's running to make whatever can be done in 10 years to be done in 1 year. This is what we can count on. In reference to whatever you have mentioned now, all of us were surprised to see that area become really agriculture and bringing wheat for us. You know that we have a lot of problems. Even Syria used to export wheat to us. We depend on that. Then whatever he is doing, there's one thing, in fact, I don't know from where to start, which one should I talk about? This guy is great. He's doing a lot of things, and people, unfortunately, are not realizing what's going on for their life. But soon they will. And I would highly appreciate the media people especially to focus, to educate our people about whatever President Sisi is doing, to show them the view which no one actually can see it in the right way. President Sisi, even whatever he did inside, consider nothing whatever he did for us outside. If you take America, America spent a lot of money and a lot of efforts when their own people suffering from extra taxes, a lot of penalties for here and there to collect money. Why? Because they would like to be the master of the world. President Sisi is taking us back to the world. See how many countries he went to and how they look at us. Don't forget, during the last regime before President Sisi took over, Egypt was completely down, and the European Union together, they didn't have trust on us. They want to get something according to whatever they believe it will work. President Sisi got them back to us. Of course, Arab countries, I'm really grateful to every one of them, whatever they are doing to us. Don't forget also, President Sisi, with project he did inside here, which people don't realize, you should look. Tunisia is the one who started what they call Arab Spring. Is the one who, because President Sisi and the Egyptians are great people. June 30th made the world completely flipped. Tunisia themselves, they followed Egyptians and told the regime bye-bye, goodbye. This is a bad one. Then if we look at whatever President Sisi is doing, one of these projects, actually in a scale from 1 to 10, it's 0.5. President Sisi is doing a lot more than whatever even you have mentioned. Maybe it is not something physical we can see in our hand, but people has to view and visualize what is outcome. And this actually depends on media and teachers in schools and universities. Definitely with families, but some of the families they have a lack of information, enough information to give their children. Then for those people who had the ability to do it, I would highly appreciate to bring up and show what this gentleman is doing. Actually, he's doing a great job.
Dr. Abdul, this mega project will be, of course, accompanied. Not only is going to fall in the benefit of in the best interest of agricultural field, but also will be covering a network of roads in Sinai and a project of tunnels that will be affected around in 2 years. We were talking about the South Sinai project and the housing units, and he earlier inaugurated last week a mega project in South Sinai. If you would like to give us your own perception of that particular one, especially South Sinai, when we are talking about curbing and curtailing the terrorism right there and fighting terrorism with development. This has been a long daydream since the time of Mubarak. And many people raise that question, why don't we fight terrorism with development? Now President Sisi is effecting that dream.
This is very important thing because development is the only thing to replace terrorism. It's not only fighting with the social media and everything like changing the mentality of the people. This is very important, but development is the only critical factor to eliminate and eradicate terrorism in the medium term to the long term, because you are creating jobs for the people to replace the income that you're receiving from illegal sources. You are creating hope for the future, and this is very important for them to know that the future is better than the current status. But I want to also highlight about the projects one thing that we are now seeing that is very positive: the linkages between the projects. We have started a phase of a year and a half with a focus on infrastructure and power. The second year we are moving to, yes, complete and finalize some of the projects in infrastructure and power, be it roads, bridges, tunnels, then energy projects, renewable, non-renewable energy. But the next phase we are moving also to manufacturing, and this is very essential. MOPCO project and expansion, it's an expansion from 650,000 annual tons of fertilizer to 1.3 million tons. This will close a very important gap in the market that is needed in fertilizers to integrate with the expansion of the 1.5 million faddans of agriculture. So we're integrating now manufacturing with agriculture, and the next phase is to move to agribusiness. The third and the last phase will be services which are very essential for the people, like medical services, education, and other services that affect the direct life of the people, like transportation. So the only important thing is the link between the phases and how they complement each other in the cycle of economic development. Some other projects that really affect the people is the housing projects. The housing projects create an important supply for a fundamental and essential need. Some places were hurt in the future, like in the past, like Duwea and other areas that faced low level of infrastructure and housing. So now we have units to replace those damaged places, and other places like Sinai that can be used to relocate the people to those areas. So people can move to those areas, they can find universities there, they can find new agriculture land there, they can find manufacturing facilities there, so they can move to live, have education, and fulfill their life with also new jobs.
To you, Dr. Azmy, if we also look, observing that particular idea of the mega projects and effecting them, and recognizing the tremendous efforts that are exerted by the government, and in particular the armed forces. They have spared a lot of effort to be able to plant 10,000 faddans, including 7,500 faddans of wheat that were reclaimed in only the first stage, and only 4 months, 2,000 housing units were built also by the armed forces, with 10,000 youth participating. So there is definitely a vital role that is played by that particular sector in the country, which is the armed forces. That particular sector that is executing those mega projects. In any project that takes 5 years would be executed by the armed forces in only 1 year. So, and also offering job opportunities, because youth are participating at the same time too.
If we don't see what the armed forces are doing for Egypt, it means we are living in a dark room, has no windows, has nothing. Whatever they are touching, they turn, as he said, they touch dust, they turn it to a gold. You can see everywhere they are doing job. It is done not only in a minimum time, as you have mentioned, but in a best quality. You have seen all the roads. Actually, they did a lot of projects which I have touched myself, and I have seen it really amazing. It's amazing because of the details of the job itself. People criticize, and those actually, the one who criticize are the one anti-Egypt. Oh no, army has different job to do. Yes, when they have their job and they do this beside to help developing Egypt, we salute them. Their job actually done not only in a perfect way, but in a minimum time and without any extra cost. And I mean it, and you understand what do I mean by extra cost. There is straightforward money on the table, and whatever cost, it's actually at the minimum of this cost. You should have seen everywhere in the world what the army is doing. We are not actually doing something strange like people think. When our army has to be on the defense line or the front line. No. Everywhere in the world the army do work. They do it in a way or another. Work like in America, even they have a National Guard. You should see the National Guard what they are doing. Completely something you never believe it. Why? It's a duty. It's something to protect the country. It is not just only to protect it from outside enemy. There are inside enemies. And by developing countries, by doing all this work, you are protecting the country, even from its own people who are not eager to help their own country.
Dr. Abdul, how do you think all those mega projects will be promoted for commercially? and to be able to attract foreign investors?
Three things. We need to have investment ambassadors to promote for the projects out of Egypt, and those could be businessmen, they could be representatives from the government, they could be representatives from the society and NGOs even. They need to promote for those projects out of Egypt, and also the government need to have and exercise more of their role. I'm not saying they are doing a bad job, but they need to increase the role of international exhibitions and foreign conferences, and also having more conferences in Egypt. So the dual level of conferences inside and outside, and attending international forums, but having a professional way to promote those projects, emphasize how we are going to finance those projects. But this is the main problem for those projects, the mega projects for us. The main problem was the financing. We had an issue over the past 2-3 years thinking about the best and optimum way of financing. We are not talking about projects that are donations. We are talking about projects that are funded. Direct funding for the projects used to be by sovereign guarantee from the state and what have you. This is not feasible in our case. We have a long time of 4 to 5 years of drops in the society, so we cannot provide this sovereign guarantee. Alternative solutions are now being thought of, and they are being exercised. We are negotiating with multinational and foreign companies to do and implement projects on an EPC plus finance basis. So they contract and they provide the projects and they build them, and they also bring finance from their countries, and this is a very successful model. Other models that are very also successful, the build, operate, transfer, so the BOT and the boot projects, and those are very important also for financing the projects that are done today, because we have tons and tons of projects. We had a long area of underdevelopment, so we have a lot of opportunities for development. So the government alone cannot finance everything.
Haven't been, exposed yet.
No, because we
still
have tons and tons
tons
of
and
projects.
tons.
We are
But
working
let's talk
very
about
fast.
the 1.5 million Fadan, and talking about fulfilling the need for all those lands to be irrigated. Do you think the project will fulfill the best use of groundwater, like the Prime Minister said?
Groundwater is a feasible source, but we need to also weigh the cost. There are some areas in Egypt, like Farafra, for example, the best water is very deep. So it's like 700 to 800 meters below, and this is costly. So a well, for example, will cost something between 2 million to 3 million Egyptian pounds. So we need to weigh the costs and the benefits of every source of water, this in terms of economic feasibility. But beside the economic feasibility, we need to also weigh strategically how are we using the resource. This is a strategic decision. So are we using the running water that we have from the Nile? Should we create different new channels, for example, different new reservoirs, something to replace the Nasser Lake, something to replace the Aswan Dam, which will have an issue and might be phased out within the 3 to 4 years. We need to weigh the sources of water and use them efficiently.
And to effect studies at the same time.
And use them efficiently. The important thing is efficiency. We trust the armed forces and all the bodies that are now working on the mega projects, that they work diligently and they work fast. But besides as well, fast execution, we need to have planning. And we need to have a lot of significant research to weigh the cost and benefits on the economic feasibility, and also strategically use the resources efficiently.
Right. Dr. Azmy,
Can I add something to the
please,
development?
please, yes.
The Egyptian immigrants, they are a big power, but unfortunately during the old regime, they couldn't make good use of them. I witnessed, because of my position in the Egyptian American Council, that we did try to bring a lot of projects for Egypt, but we only see one thing: what is it for me? Therefore, everyone pulled back. I think during this regime it will be different. However, one hand cannot clap.
Takes two to tango.
Yes.
Right.
Take two to tango. And the government here has to take care of this, has to spread their hands to the Egyptian immigrants to tell them, welcome back, we can help you.
Especially that there are good calibers. I mean, people who could be, that they boom outside.
In everywhere, I mean, just in my field, educational field, president, vice president, you name it, in the university and top universities. And those brought a lot of projects. We have the medical association, the doctors, they did one of the projects which unfortunately they collected almost $500,000 of medicine, and they asked to ship it to Egypt. Egypt told them, okay, you pay for the shipping. Come on, we brought it for you, take it or throw it away. And you know what they did? They give it away to the charities in America. These things in the past, I hope these things will change, but it will not change unless President Sisi will assign an office who will directly report to him and deal with those people overseas. Maybe with the new minister, it will be okay, but still we need an office to follow up whatever those immigrants bring to Egypt and see how the others here will receive it. I mean, like if we bring it to any one of the ministers, let's say Minister of Health, they should follow up with the Minister of Health what happened, where it is.
There should be a network of state officials to be able to come to a final decision.
Absolutely. So you have a question for me, yes.
Right. I was going to hit on something like